What's up, guys? Welcome to Demo with Mo. I'm your host, Monique Simmons. We'll be discussing dating, engaged, and married objectives from a young Christian's perspective. Are you guys ready? Let's dive in. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to a new episode of Demo with Mo. I am your host, Monique Simmons. I am really excited about today's episode. It is going to be a good one. I already know it. I already know it. I'm already excited. I've been thinking about it all day. Before we get started and jump into the conversation, I want to give you guys a few announcements. I'm really excited to announce the Demo with Mo podcast has just hit 1,000 downloads. I'm so excited about it. How do I say this? I'm not really big on the numbers. That's not why I created this podcast. This is not why I work on the content. And I'm mindful about the things that I discuss and talk about. But I really thought that was a major milestone. And it's only because of you guys. So as always, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing the podcast, downloading the podcast, giving feedback on the podcast. I don't take it for granted. We're getting ready to celebrate our 1-year anniversary next month on August 13th. I have a lot in store for you guys. There will be giveaways, special guests. I'm just excited about all that is to come with Demo with Mo podcast. Remember, follow me on Facebook and TikTok at Demo with Mo and on Instagram at Demo with Mo podcast. We have the private group on Facebook. If you're not already a part of that group, stop what you're doing. Right now, you can pause this episode and come right on back. Look up that group. It's called Dating, Engaged, and Married Objectives. And remember to rate, review, and share the podcast. Whatever platform where you listen to podcasts, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of the different platforms. Remember, rate, review, and share. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get ready to jump into our conversation. I invited a very, very special guest to join me on today. Last week, I know you guys remember our conversation where I invited Liz Tillman Nichols on, and we talked about the village and how we adjust when the village has to move away or when we have to move away from the village. And if you have not heard that episode, go listen to that one first and then come back here. But today, I get to announce because I haven't said much on the podcast because it hasn't been public information. Well, my best friend who lives near me, she's getting ready to move to a completely different state, and we'll get ready to jump more into detail in that later. But I thought it was only right to follow up last week's episode and have her come on today. And we're going to say our goodbyes, even though it's really not goodbye. And I'm not about to start crying already. Even though it's not really goodbye, it kind of is. So I thought it would be nice for you guys to be a part of this conversation with her and I. But that's enough of me talking. I'm going to introduce her. She is Mrs. Angela Sarn. She is an educator. She is a wife. She's a mom. She's a daughter. She's a sister. She's a best friend. She is all of the things. Angie, what's up, girl?
Hey, Mo. How you doing?
I am doing good. So happy to have you join me on today. Okay, this is going to be bittersweet for me. I'm just going to be honest. This is bittersweet. I'm excited to have you on the podcast, but I'm not happy about saying goodbye.
The feelings are mutual. I'm excited for being on. Thank you for inviting me on.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So something you guys don't know, and I wasn't even planning on saying this, but because she's on the episode, every week when I do my podcast episode, after I finish editing them and all of that jazz, I send them directly to Angie. And this has been going on since I first started the podcast, and she gives me feedback. She may critique the sound. She may be, she gives me my first reviews. Girl, this was good. This was, I really enjoyed this, or things that maybe need to be fixed. But I just thought you guys, that's a little tidbit, a little behind the scenes of what be going on with the Demo with Mo podcast. So, girl, thank you for tuning in each week and helping your girl out.
Oh, and I thank you for trusting my opinion. So anything to help with Demo with Mo.
I appreciate it. So we're going to dive right in. First question I have for you is, how did we meet and how long has it been?
Okay. So we initially met at our middle school, which was Chastain Middle School. And we knew of each other, but we didn't know each other. So some years went by. I believe we also went to CDC together, which is the Career Development Center in high school. And then, of course, because we knew of each other and everything, we were friends on social media. And then one time after my second son was born, I wanted to get back into shape. And I was admiring some friends that were walking in my neighborhood. Every day they walked together. And I thought that was just so cute. And I was just on Facebook one day and I was just saying, hey, oh, these friends, they're walking every day. I wish I had somebody that I can walk with or something similar to that. And you responded and you were like, I'll walk with you. And I was like, oh, okay. And you inboxed me or I inboxed you or something. We ended up talking and we exchanged phone numbers. And I remember our first time we walked at the park and it was at Friendship Park in Ridgeland, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since.
Oh yeah. Such a dope story. Just that one post, and it's all history from there.
Yeah.
And this was when? How long ago was this? 11 years old?
Yeah, because our kids wasn't even one yet. We both had just had children.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were one. I don't know, but I know we had not too long had kids because our kiddos are 2 weeks apart? 2 or 3 weeks apart. Yeah. But yeah, so that's definitely been at least 11 years ago.
Wow. And it doesn't even feel like it. Legit, for me, it doesn't feel like it.
Mm-mm. It does not.
Okay, so my next question is, what made you realize that we were truly friends? Because I know sometimes people can begin to hang out, with people and begin to try to build something, but it may turn out to not really be what they thought it was going to be, or maybe they just found out that they're good just associating with one another. But what made you realize that we were truly friends?
I would say definitely it was a conversation that you and I were having, and I confided in you with the information, and there was no judgment. And then I didn't get the vibe of it was going anywhere outside of us just talking about it. And then it was times that we were doing things. Our kids have events. We had events. I had an event at my church. You had an event in your church. And you would invite me, I would invite you, and we would show up for each other. And so when we were showing up for each other and we were confiding in each other, for me, that was the sign, okay, I can trust her. I can see her as a friend. And then you were loyal, like very trustworthy. We had a lot of fun. We both are goofy.
Yes, we are.
And it was like, that was the thing from the beginning. Those were the things that made me realize, okay, this is a person that I can most definitely call a friend.
Wow. And I agree with you 100%. Like legit, I agree 100%. What is your best memory? Because you mentioned we have a lot of fun together, which we do. I'm saying from day one up until now, we have a lot of fun together. What's your best memory of our friendship?
So we have so many memories. And like you said, we've been friends for 11 years, over 11 years, at least 11 years, I'll say. But we were doing a mom's getaway trip last March or April. And it was in New Orleans, your favorite city.
Oh, yeah.
And and we had so much fun in less than a day, I think, or was it 2 days? Less than 2 days. And it was just fun. Like at that time, it had been a while since I think we both had gotten out. I don't even think Zoe was one yet. Was she one
she
yet?
was not. She wasn't.
Yeah, she wasn't even one yet. And it was a memorable moment for me as well because I loved how even though we were like getting away from being moms, you were still being a mom. Because, and I shared this with you. If it's okay, is it okay if I mention the picture
Yes,
I took of you?
definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and I guess that's why I took the picture, because it was so beautiful to me, because even though we were getting away from being moms, you still was on duty because you were pumping. We're having a good time, hanging out, talking or whatever, and you were pumping your milk while you were away, and then we still was having fun. I mean, we got soaked up in the rain. But we had some good food. We had a
yes, we
good
did.
time. I mean, it was awesome. And it was just so many goofy moments. And it was very beautiful, because you were not only there with me, you was there with other moms that I'm friends with. And it was just all a beautiful moments. So for me, that's one of my, out of all, it's so many, but that's one of my favorites.
I love it. I love it. And it was very memorable because, like you said, it's my favorite city. And then I got to be in my favorite city with one of my favorite people. And then I got to also enjoy it with some of your friends. And it wasn't even like they were your friends. We all just meshed well together and had a good time.
Yes, we did.
Was it hard for you to trust me? Because I know that can be a big thing when you're trying to build a friendship with someone. Was it hard for me to gain your trust?
Initially, yes, but that's because I'm like that with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I have a wall that I have built because of past hurts with friends, family, and I hold back before I can really dive in and be deep with getting close with people. So yeah, initially it was hard, but like I said, I'm like that with everybody I first meet.
Got you. So if you had to estimate, because it's been at least 11 years that we've been friends, how long do you think it took you to really trust me?
I would say if maybe a month or two, if that. And I say that because for a while, I think we were walking like 2 or 3 times a week. And when we walk, we talk, and we both can talk. And so
yeah.
I would say, I don't remember who, but I'm gonna be honest with you. More than likely, it was you, because again, I don't trust people. So you did a what they call an ice breaking type of conversation where you told me something and you confided in, and I was like, oh, she was bold enough to say that. Okay, well, I can say this. So that was the thing that made me say, okay, if she felt, where she can tell me this personal thing, then okay, maybe I can tell her this personal thing, So yeah, I would give it, I would say at least 2 months, if that though. It may have been sooner than that.
Okay. So let me ask you this. What did you desire from a friendship? And not necessarily just with me. When we're young, when we're teenagers and we're in school, we have these on the surface relationships with people. But now that you are now a wife and a mom and you have your own children at the time, what is it that you were desiring or looking for in a friendship?
To be honest, I wasn't looking for a friendship per se. I was looking for somebody to walk, to really, honestly, at that moment, I really was just, saying that I desire to have something. I desire that, but I wasn't looking for that, if I'm making sense. It's like you can desire something, you can want something, but you don't actually go out and get it. And the reason being was because of that fear of rejection, that fear of being hurt again. So I didn't want to put myself out there to get hurt. And so I wasn't necessarily looking for a friend, but God knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing when he did that. But I would say the things that I desired from a friend would be somebody that I can confide in with no judgment. Like if I say something to you, I don't hear it from anyone else, or it won't be in the streets, or it won't end up on social media. You know how some people do. I want it, somebody I can trust, someone I can have fun with, somebody that's loyal, somebody I can cry with, those type of relationships. Like you said, you have things that's on the surface, but those friends that you can really cry with, that's like on a whole nother level. I don't care what anyone says. Because it's like being able to let your feelings out and just cry on somebody, and even if not even just speaking, but just crying on someone else's shoulder, and they allow you to do that, it makes you feel comfortable. It makes you feel loved, and you can trust that person. So that was something I desired.
Yeah.
And then also being able to say something to someone and then they don't throw it back at you. Because in life, we are all people, and people are gonna have like disagreements and what have you. But if we have a disagreement, I want to be able for us to have just that disagreement on that topic, not you hitting below the belt and saying something that had nothing to do with the topic, and it's something that I confided with you, and you throw it back at me. So all of those things are something that I desired in a friend. I still do, because even though I am not so quick to be friends with other people, but since I am getting ready to move to a whole nother state, I know I would need to develop a relationship with other people. And those are some things that I will be hoping for if I can, if I can find someone else. But to be honest, if I don't, okay, it ain't the end of the world, because I still got you along with other people that other friends that I love to death. So yeah.
This is good, girl. And these are great characteristics that you named to have in a friend. Like, legit. Okay. And what you said, it created a great segue to my next question. So my next question is, have we ever, because this is the inevitable. We have been friends for at least 11 years. So a long time for a friendship anyway. And this is something that's just natural and is going to happen in any relationship. And I look at a friendship like a relationship, because these are people you're doing life with. You're having to learn how to trust, work through some things. You both are growing and evolving, and conflict is going to happen. So my question to you is, have we ever experienced conflict? And if so, how did we get through it?
Yes, we did. And it was for the first time when I decided to get up out of here. So that I can recall, if we did, and I said it before, if we did, I don't even remember it. But I would definitely say, yes, we did have one, and it was our very first big conflict. And that was it was a month ago, right? Has it been over a month yet?
It's been over a month.
Yeah, okay, so I know at least over a month. And we gave each other space.
Yeah.
We gave each other space, and we were able to talk it out. We were able to talk through it. We both gave each other time to say what we needed to say. And then we apologized for our parts in it and more. I cry because I'm a crybaby. Well, I don't want to say crybaby. I'm a person who enjoys to express her emotions. Hello. So
there we go.
So I was expressing my emotions with water coming out of my eyes, and I was able to really get out what I felt, and it was awkward for me, because it had been so long with us not having a conflict. When we were working out to resolve it, I don't know if you remember, I was like, this feels weird. Like, we never had to come back. Yeah. We never had to come back, to this. So it felt so weird to me. But at the same time, I'm grateful that we did it. Because I've had conflicts with friends before, and it did not end well. And even to this day, there's some friends that I'm not even able to say anything because they're gone from this world. So I totally appreciated the fact that we took the time to talk it out, like I said, say what we needed to say with love and receive it. Because, sometimes you can be a friend and you can apologize and say all these good things, but the person may not be able to or even want to receive what that person is saying. But we both were able to receive, what we wanted to say. Yeah. So it ended well. And I love what you said. Like, don't be having no argument with me and you about to leave me. Like, no, we're not about to do that.
Sure, not about to do that. You ain't finna leave me on no bad note. So just to give the listeners, you guys, a little background, without even going into detail, because that part is not even important. All you need to know is there was a conflict, and it didn't even last long. Let me tell you how close we are and how close our families are. It lasted, I would say, for a weekend, y'all. So when you hear this, I don't want you to think this was something big that blew up and turned into something and spiraled. I would dare not let that happen. I'm just gonna be honest. I wouldn't have let that happen. I would have pulled up at her house before I would have let that happen. But it was funny because she said we gave each other space, which was a day. We gave each other like a day of space. And we were confiding in our husbands, because our husbands are friends and they know how close we are. And they both were like, y'all better get it together. You need to call so-and-so. You need to call so-and-so. Y'all need to figure this out, because me and Angie, we talk every day. We legit talk every day. We use this thing called voice messaging. Well, we it's like a text message, but you're talking. It's your voice. Because we both are moms and wives and work, and we just have busy lives. So this way we still can stay connected and build our friendship, but we still can do life. So we're able to kind of respond to one another throughout the day whenever we have a free moment. And we do this consistently every day. So now that we're not talking to one another, we're talking to our husbands as if they were us. So at this point, it's like by the end of the night, they kind of done with us. Like, okay, it's time to call Mo. It's time to call Angela. Y'all got to figure this out. So we ended up setting a date. We went and met at a restaurant and sat down from one another and talked. And as Angie already told you guys, it was awkward. And she stated that she was like, this is awkward, because we've never, in our 11 years of friendship, we have never had conflict. We have never had issues or problems or nothing that mattered or amounted to anything worth even talking about. So this was our first time, but I knew she was going to be leaving, and I knew we could not leave on a negative note. Y'all, we had that conversation at that table. I don't even know how long we were at that restaurant. We closed the restaurant down at night, but we left as if we never had an issue. We hugged, we cried, we laughed together, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since. And the only reason that I'm telling you guys this, because she means so much to me. She is my best friend. I can say that with confidence. She is my best friend. And some of you guys, you cut off people so quick. You break up friendships so fast just because you have conflict, or you guys disagree, or you change and you grow and you evolve. Don't get me wrong. Some friendships do genuinely separate. You outgrow one another. Some friendships do need to be cut off. Maybe the other person is toxic or whatever. But some relationships and friendships can really be fixed and be worked through. Just because you have a conflict, just because you have one issue to come up, doesn't mean now you guys cannot be friends, or it doesn't have to end well. Sit down and have a conversation with one another. Be respectful of the other person, to hear them out. And even if you don't agree, just understand how they feel and where they're coming from. And maybe you did say something, or maybe you did act some type of way that you didn't even notice, that could have offended them or hurt them. And you guys just hear one another out and begin to work through it. And that makes your friendship stronger. I told you, friendship is just like romantic relationships and marriages. You don't give up on your marriage or your relationship because conflict arises or hard times come or you guys disagree. You sit down and communicate with one another and hear one another out and compromise and figure out how we can work through this and let this be a stepping stone to make our relationship even better. So that's why I wanted to talk to her about this, so you guys can really understand the dynamics of our friendship. Okay, so we take a lot of trips together. We travel. We'll get on the road in a minute. What's your most memorable trip that we've taken together?
Ooh, girl. Right now, the most memorable one was Orlando. When we went to surprise our friend who moved away as well. And I remember, and that was so beautiful because we have a group text. I'm part of that group text, and Mo always talking about it in Mo with Mo. I'm one of the members of that group text.
Oh, yeah.
And another one of the members of the group text, she had been expressing how she missed home. Like, of course, she loved where she was at, but she was getting homesick. And we were having our daily voice message conversation. And I remember I was like, I would love for us to try to get up and see her. And you were like, yeah, I agree. Let's try to do something. Let's do something. And we kept trying, but every time we would try to do it, our schedules would conflict. But we finally got a chance to do it. And it was one of my favorites, because it was also you and your husband's first airplane flight experience. And it was just so beautiful to experience that with you, because I remember my first flight, I was not with my spouse. And I wanted to be so bad. Even though it was with some friends, I wanted to be so bad. So the fact that you enjoyed your first flight experience with your husband and with your best friend, that was beautiful. Yeah. As well as the reason why we were going out there was because out of love to see about a friend. And we had a great time. Everybody had a great time. She was definitely surprised. You and her husband worked out some things on the back end the itinerary, because that's what you do, because you're good at that. And we just had a great time. And that was needed as well for me and my husband. We needed a trip like that because it had been a while. So that was one of my favorites.
I agree. Everything about that trip was beautiful. Like, just the motives behind it. And you guys, this just shows how much we love and care for one another. And not just me and Angie, our group chat, period. Even though all of us are in separate places now, because, all of them are leaving me, even though they're not leaving me. But y'all understand how I feel. Y'all heard last week's episode. Y'all understand how I feel. But we gonna show up for one another. It don't matter where y'all move. If somebody says that they're homesick, they're missing us, we gonna show up. If somebody is graduating and have a celebration, we're gonna show up. If somebody is having a baby, and we're just gonna show up. That's just how close we are with one another. Even though we all have our individual lives and we're not able to physically be together like we used to years ago, we still show up for one another. And it's just beautiful. Girl, the trip I thought of, and this was not fun. Well, the trip was fun, but the moment that I'm thinking about was not fun. But I was pregnant with Zoe. And for my listeners, if you guys don't know, Angie is one of my baby girls, Zoe Grace, one of her godmothers. So when I was pregnant with Zoe, we went on a road trip. Yeah, I told you we'll get on the road in a minute. We went on a road trip and we went. What restaurant did we go to?
Copeland's.
We went to Copeland's, and we were going specifically for the Mardi Gras cheesecake. Yeah, that cheesecake so good. But as we were on the road, because all my pregnancies, I am sick my entire pregnancy. I usually don't get any relief to those last 1 or 2 months. I'm sick my entire pregnancy. So we were on the road, we were traveling to Copeland's, and I got sick on the road, but it happened so fast, I couldn't let my window down fast enough. And I'm not even going to give you guys all of the details, but it was just terrible. Her car, and we are in Angie's car. We're not even in my car. It was everywhere. Her car stink. It was so bad, and I felt so bad. Y'all, I was crying and regurgitating all at the same time, but I felt so bad, and I kept apologizing. And she was like, when we got home, I had texted her later that night and apologized again. And she was like, girl, it is okay. I can clean the car. It is okay. But that was one of my most memorable trips. Even though I still got to eat real good, but I will never forget that it was terrible, y'all. It was all over her car everywhere. I'm like, Lord, her husband probably cursing me out when she get home. Y'all, it was so bad.
All good. It was all good. And then now you reminded me, yeah, because I was mid-convo giving you some good tea. I remember that now. I was giving you some good tea. And I'm like, girl, so. I'm like, what is your word? Shoot, now I gotta start off with my tea. Shoot. But it was all good. We pulled over at the gas station, got cleaned up. You made. I was like, girl, it's fine. She was like, if you don't go to this car wash, okay. I went to the car wash and then, took you home. But I mean it. I said it then, and I still mean it now. It was fine, because I think what happened was that was your first time on the road for a long distance since you were pregnant with her. So you had forgotten about the motion sickness. So, and then we were driving over water because we went through Vicksburg to go to that location. And you know what? That was another Facebook post. I shared that they advertised that Copeland's New York cheese. No, I'm sorry, not New York. Mardi Gras cheesecake was back, and I was like, "Oh, I want to go." And you come in and you want to go.
Girl, you know how I roll. I'm always down.
And we made a day trip out there. Matter of fact, we got there, we left, and got back in time to pick up the kids from school.
Sure did. We sure did, for real.
We surely did. So yeah, that was good. That was good.
Okay, next question. How do you adjust in your friendships when life dynamics change? Maybe a friend gets married or begins to have children or starts a new job where they're not available as much or anything. Life happens. How do you adjust?
First, I know that I do is I don't get selfish, because don't get me wrong, I love my friendships with people, but I also realize they're humans and they have a lot of things going on. So when things are going on in their life, I give them the space that they need. And if they don't, or I offer whatever I need to offer, and I be there for them the best way I know how. Like sometimes people can't verbalize what they need. Sometimes they don't even know what they need. So I try my best to be there for them the best way I can be. And then at the same time, if I think they need space or if they verbalize they need space, I give them that space. If they don't talk to me for a few days, I give them that, whatever I need. Basically be there for them during that time of need, however that may be.
That's good. That's really good. Okay.
I had a friendship one time where that wasn't the case. I had a life-changing experience for me. My husband, not life-changing, but I had a dynamic change. My husband was deployed because I am a military wife, and he was deployed, and I was in school full-time, stay-at-home mom. My husband was deployed, and all my kids still had their other things, activities and stuff going on. And the relationship that I had with a friend, it was going well. We were doing well, but I realized some of the conversations that we were having was beginning to be a burden on me, because I'm the type of friend where when you're hurting, I'm hurting too. Or when you're dealing with things, I worry about you. I pray for my friends, but I also can see myself becoming worried. So their issue was becoming to be something heavy on me, along with my own issues. And I remember expressing that to that friend, and it didn't go well. And so ever since that situation, I vowed to not be that way. And I understand at that time, I think that friend was more hurt than anything. And I think on their end, I don't think they intentionally wanted it to be that way. But at the same time, I had to choose myself and say, hey, I love you, but I can't be there for you in this moment like you used to, because I have my own issues that's going on. So I try my best to be there for others in the way I need to be.
Okay, so my last question is, what will you miss the most about our friendship? And even though we're still going to be friends, we just won't physically be in the same vicinity anymore. What are you going to miss the most?
Being right down the street from you. I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss being able to be there physically for you and for our children, your children, like I've been able to with the heartbeat. I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss being able for us being there for each other in all type of ways, whether when you're sick and I need to drop off something for you, or dropping off a just because happy, or if I'm running behind from picking up somebody from practice and I can text you, hey, can you pick up so-and-so? Or the other way around, if you need somebody to pick up your kid and I'm right there picking up mine, all of those things, I'm going to miss being able to do that. I'm going to miss being able to say, girl, I need a vent session. Let me grab the wine. Yeah. Come on. And I go and we sit on your back deck and we have a good old time back there. So I'm going to miss all of that. I'm going to miss being able to hug you, being able to hug my Zoe Grace, being able to, just be there physically. I'm going to miss that.
Same. Same. And I was sitting here like this whole time, I've done good. I've done well this whole time. I haven't cried. I haven't had any tears until now. But the same for me. Like, we have done life together for a long time, and we, some friendships are on different levels. They may just go hang out and go out together. They may just do play dates together. We do all of it together. I've had COVID twice, and you have dropped out food or medicine. When I was sick my whole pregnancy with Zoe, you would send medicine. You would do just because, little happies. Even after I had Zoe, you made me, because people always think about the baby. They get everything for the baby. But you created this basket, this self-care basket for me to do things for myself. And it's just like, I'm going to miss that so much. We will pull up on each other at any time. I would drop off things at your house. You always talk about me, how I'm like the secret agent, because I would just pull up, drop stuff off the door, ring the doorbell, and I'd be gone. They'd be like, all I see is the smoke from your car. So I am going to miss everything about that. I'm going to miss you so much, and I'm going to miss your family so much, because your family is my family. And I just want you to know I wish you nothing but the best. I love you, and I appreciate your friendship so much. And I don't take it for granted. I don't take it for granted at all. And I hope you know that.
I most definitely do, because I'm definitely going to miss because, like I said, we met and our oldest were like 2 or 3, and now they're teenagers. And we've had, our kids used to be, we could go back and look at pictures and see that our older 2 were at each other's birthday parties, but you couldn't tell who birthday it was because the other one was right next to them. Like, now they're not going to have physical birthday parties together anymore,
Girl.
They're not going to be able to be together like they were. And neither are us. Like, you my ride or die. And it's been times in my life where I really needed to get out the house. And you were like, pull up, let's go. Where we going? We'll pull up at anybody's restaurant, parking lot, or inside, or whatever. So I'm going to miss being able to do that with you. But I know what we have going on, what I have going on, as well as my family going on, is for the best. And God has led us on this path for a reason. And don't get me wrong, I do have friends, and I already have a friend that's out in the area who I've been friends with for over 15, 16 years. But with each friendship, each relationship is different.
Yeah.
Just like with children, you love all your children the same, but it's like you have a special, unique link with each one of them. And I have a special, unique link with you. And really, I say all the time, only God can really understand, because we did not know what God was doing. We both went to Chastain Middle School together. Didn't even know each other. God placed me at that school at that time. And then here we are, the years later, with our children eventually going to that school. Yeah. And we would have never imagined that. And how God worked that out for us is so beautiful. And at the same time, it's still heartbreaking to know that that person that God, by divine intervention that he put me with, I'm about to leave them.
Yeah.
And then you had this beautiful baby on me. I love so much. I hugged her so tight. I don't know if you realize, girl, I was holding back tears the other day. I hugged her so tight because, due to COVID, I wasn't able to really nobody was able to really be there. Yeah. And so it's just now getting to a point where we can really get out and feel more comfortable being around loved ones. And to now finally get that and get used to it, it's like, what in the world?
Yeah.
So yes, I'm going to miss you and your family so much.
Yeah, and I told you guys earlier, she is one of the godmothers to my baby girl, but I'm also the godmother to her only daughter. So this past weekend, we have done a lot of these goodbyes, but we have not said goodbye yet. Like, I think we're both still holding on to that. Like, our husbands, we got together last night, all of us, and our husbands was like, we know y'all gonna see each other again. It ain't even no point of y'all trying to hug and say goodbye. Cause then they're right, because they know us. Like, we still have not officially said goodbye. But we got our girls together, my goddaughter and her goddaughter, and we went out and had breakfast together for our last godmother goddaughter outing. And I'm just going to miss that. Like, I'm just overwhelmed with feelings, to be honest with you, because our lives are meshed and gelled together so much. Like, the picking up our kids, the class promotions, because our children are the same age, so they do everything together. The birthdays, the trips, like, we do life together. And I know we can still do those things, but it won't be the same. So again, I love you, and I'm going to miss you so much. I appreciate you, even though we still have not did our official goodbye, which will happen. But I love you, and I wish you and the family nothing but the best.
Thank you. Feelings are mutual.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening to another episode of Demo with Mo. Remember, I love you, but God loves you more. Bye, guys.
Bye.
I hope you guys have enjoyed. Follow me on Facebook at Demo with Mo. If you have any questions you would like answered here live on my podcast, email them to me at demowithmo@gmail.com. That's DEMOWITHMO@gmail.com.